The movie starts on October 30th, 1969, in the woods of North Carolina. Two kids riding their bikes stumble upon a dead body near a swamp tower. Scared, they run to tell Sheriff Jackson and his deputy. The body is identified as Chase Andrews, the town's star quarterback. The cops are baffled. There are no footprints around the body, no sign of a struggle. When they climb up the old fire tower, they find a broken grate, making it look like Chase might have fallen. But something doesn't sit right with Sheriff Jackson. The autopsy confirms that Chase died from a 63-foot drop, but the angle of his injuries suggests he fell backward, almost as if someone pushed him. Even stranger, there are no fingerprints on the tower railing. And a few strands of red fibers are found on Chase's jacket. Later that night, while grabbing a bite at the local diner, the officers overhear a group of townspeople speculating about the case. They all seem to agree on one thing: the mysterious Marsh girl must be behind Chase's death. Nobody knows much about her, not even her real name. They only know she lives alone in the swamp and that she's different. And in this small town, being different is enough to make you guilty. Curious, the cops head to her house the next morning. The place is empty, but inside, they find something shocking: a red wool cap, the same shade as the fibers found on Chase's jacket. It's all the evidence they need. The hunt for the Marsh girl begins. Meanwhile, we finally meet her, Kia Clark. She watches from a distance as the officers search her home. She's used to hiding. It's the only way she's survived this long. But she doesn't run fast enough. A few days later, while boating through the marsh, she gets cornered by the cops. She tries to escape by diving into the water, but they're ready for her. She's dragged out, arrested, and locked behind bars. Back in town, the people waste no time making up their minds. To them, Kia is already guilty. They spread rumors, calling her wild, crazy, someone who belongs in an asylum, not among decent folks. But not everyone believes the gossip. A retired lawyer, Tom Milton, visits Kia in jail, offering to defend her. He warns her that the jury will judge her not for what she's done, but for who she is. If they see her as nothing more than the Marsh girl, she's as good as doomed. At first, Kia refuses to talk. But just as Tom is about to leave, she finally opens up about her past. The movie then takes us back to 1953, 16 years ago. Kia once had a family and a loving mother who always made her smile. She also had 4 siblings who kept their distance, except for Jody, who truly cared for her. One day, a local boy named Tate approaches their house while Kia and her sisters play inside their dad's boat. This is when we first see how violent Kia's father is. When Tate tries to stand up for Kia, he is quickly warned never to return. Later, Kia's mother, Julianne, can no longer endure her husband's abuse. One morning, she leaves the house and never comes back. Kia runs after her, calling out, but it's as if Julianne can't even hear her. After that, Kia's siblings leave one by one, making her feel even more abandoned. Finally, even Jody, the one who always looked out for her, has to go. Kia cries as she watches him disappear, and Jody is just as heartbroken. Before leaving, he tells Kia to hide deep in the marsh, way out where the crawdads sing, whenever she is in danger. With everyone gone, Kia quickly learns to avoid her father, Clark, to escape his wrath. One day, she unexpectedly crosses paths with Tate, the fisherman's son and a friend of Jody's. There is something about him that makes her feel at ease. For the first time since her mother and Jody left, she feels something other than pain. As time passes, Kia builds up the courage to ask her father for food. He takes her to the store, but all he can afford is a bag of grits. The store owners, Mabel and Jumpin, notice her situation and begin to show her kindness. Mabel even encourages her to go to school, offering her clothes and secretly slipping her free candy. With Mabel's help, Kia decides to give school a try. She heads to town, where she runs into Tom, who points her toward the school. But on her very first day, things go horribly wrong. The other students mock her for her dirty clothes and wild appearance, forcing her to run away and never come back. Left to survive on her own, Kia finds peace in her boat and her unexpected encounters with Tate. Meanwhile, Clark begins treating her better and even gives her his old army knapsack. Just when things seem to be getting better, a letter from her mother turns her world upside down. When Clark sees the letter, he snatches it from Kia and burns it before she can read a single word. He tells her that her mother is never coming back. Heartbroken, Kia saves the ashes, hoping to hold on to a piece of her mother's warmth. That night, she watches helplessly as Clark burns the rest of Julienne's belongings. And then, another blow. One morning, Kia wakes up to find that her father has left too. With no food and no way to survive, she turns to the only thing she can, collecting mussels to sell at Mabel's shop. In exchange for a few pounds of mussels each week, Jumpin gives her supplies like food, matches, and candles. Jumpin treats the exchange like business, but Mabel sees Kia as a child in need. She secretly gives her clothes and shoes whenever she can. Even in the present day, Mabel still helps her. The dress Kia wears to her trial was a gift from her. If she is found guilty, she will face the death penalty. Back in court, Chase's family lawyer tries to convince the jury that Kia lured Chase Andrews to the tower and pushed him to his death. But Tom steps in. He tells everyone there is no real evidence, no witnesses, no fingerprints, nothing. The only reason Kia is on trial is because the town never accepted her. Tom advises Kia to take a plea deal. If she admits to being at the tower that night and says it was an accident, she could be out of prison in 6 years. The deal sounds tempting, but Kia refuses. She will not say anything that suggests she is guilty. She wants to walk free. The movie then flashes back to 1962. Kia has grown older. She often sees a man in the woods but never dares to approach him. Instead, he leaves her small gifts, feathers, seeds, and a spark plug, along with letters she can't even read. One day, they finally meet face to face. The man tells her that he is Tate, her childhood friend. Their conversation is awkward, but in the end, he makes an offer. He will teach her how to read and write. Starting with the ABCs and progressing to basic biology, Kia immerses herself in learning. She develops a deep passion for writing, and her drawing skills become exceptional. Her knowledge of feathers, birds, and the marshes wildlife is unmatched. As time passes, Kia and Tate grow closer, sharing their pasts and mourning their losses. Their bond eventually blossoms into love, and they begin a relationship. Despite Kia's readiness for a deeper relationship, Tate hesitates, fearing for her safety and reputation in town. Meanwhile, social services begin searching for Kia, claiming they want to place her in a safe shelter. In reality, they are working with developers who plan to drain the swamp for hotel construction. Just as Kia finds some happiness, Tate drops a devastating bombshell: he is leaving for college. The news shatters Kia. She wants him to stay, believing their love is enough. But Tate has dreams beyond the marsh. He wants to study and be more than just a fisherman. With a heavy heart, Kia says goodbye. Before leaving, Tate gives her a list of publishers, encouraging her to submit her drawings and notes to earn money. He promises to return in a month, on the 4th, to watch fireworks together. Then, he is gone, leaving Kia alone once more. When the day of Tate's return finally arrives, Kia is filled with anticipation. She wears the dress Mabel gave her and waits at the beach all day. But Tate never comes. He never writes, never shows up. As fireworks light up the night sky, Kia watches them alone, feeling utterly abandoned. Heartbroken and betrayed, Kia burns Tate's memories, retreating once again into the solitude of the marsh. She convinces herself she will never trust anyone again. In the present day, the sheriff argues that Chase's death was murder, citing erased fingerprints and footprints as evidence. But Tom counters, stating that the high tide could have washed away the tracks. He then brings up a crucial detail: the sheriff had previously warned the U.S. Forest Service about the broken grates in the fire tower, which could cause severe injury or death if left unrepaired. In a flashback to 1968, Kia first meets Chase Andrews and his family at the seashore. Before they can talk, she leaves for home, only to see yet another developer taking photos of the marsh. At Mabel's store, Mabel tells Kia that developers are buying land for hotels. She encourages Kia to do whatever it takes to keep her family's last memory alive. Determined, Kia visits the land registrar and, on the way, runs into Chase, who asks her out on a date. At the registrar's office, Kia learns that her grandfather bought the land, but she must pay back taxes, around $800, to keep it. With no other way to earn money, she decides to submit her drawings and notes to the publishers Tate recommended. That evening, she meets Chase for their date by the sea. But as they talk, she begins to sense that Chase, though handsome, views her as less than him. Realizing his mistake, Chase apologizes and takes her to the fire tower, hoping to make amends. As time passes, they spend more time together. Kia isn't sure how she feels about him, but she is no longer alone, and that seems to be enough. Back in court, the prosecution presents a red wool fiber found on Chase's jacket the night he died. They claim it matches Kia's cap, proving her involvement. Tom argues that the fibers could have transferred onto Chase's clothes during any of their past encounters, weeks or even months before his death. Meanwhile, Kia receives a response from a publisher who is captivated by her manuscript and eager to publish it. Chase, now promoted at work, proposes to Kia. He takes her to a hotel, where she has her first sexual experience. As a token of her affection, she gives him a rare and ornate shell necklace she found on their first date. But after Chase's death, his mother insists that the necklace was missing from his body when he was found. The police thoroughly search Kia's house but fail to find it, leaving the prosecution without concrete evidence. While Kia is still with Chase, Tate returns from college, only to see them together. But he soon realizes Chase is not the right man for her, especially when he hears Chase making crude comments about her body in public. Furious, Tate confronts Chase, and they get into a fight before Jumpin' breaks it up. Interestingly, Tate is wearing the same red beanie from which the wool fiber on Chase's jacket supposedly came. That night, Tate visits Kia, but she is furious. He left her without a word, without even writing. Tate apologizes, explaining that he believed she would never leave the marsh, and he didn't want to trap her in a life she wasn't ready for. But now he knows, he cannot live without her. He has taken a job at a local lab, and he asks if she can ever forgive him. Kia doesn't know. Kia's relationship with Chase seems stable, until one day, she sees him in town with another woman. His friend introduces herself as his fiancée. Shocked and betrayed, Kia rushes home. Chase follows her minutes later, but she hides in the bushes, refusing to let him hurt her again. Despite the heartbreak, something good happens. Kia's book is published. She earns enough money to pay the back taxes and officially reclaim her land. She renovates her house and repurchases the surrounding 310 acres of lagoons, marsh, and oak forests. Then, out of nowhere, her brother Jody appears. He saw her book in a store and finally found her. Jody reveals that their mother, Julienne, had tried to reunite with them. She had saved money for lawyers, planning to take them back, but Clark had threatened her, if she tried, he would beat the children beyond recognition. Heartbroken and powerless, Julienne fell ill and eventually died of leukemia. Seeing Kia's success, Chase tries to worm his way back into her life, but when she repeatedly rejects him, he loses control. He attempts to sexually assault her, but Kia fights back, striking him with a rock. She warns him, if he ever comes near her again, she will kill him. This death threat is overheard by a fisherman, who later testifies against her in court. Terrified, Kia starts sleeping outside, hiding in the bushes at night. One day, Tate arrives and is horrified to see bruises on her face. He wants to go after Chase, but Kia begs him to let it go. Instead, Tate encourages her to go to her publisher's meeting in Greenville. He gives her his red beanie for warmth. This raises a question: if Kia kept the beanie, how did its fibers end up on Chase's jacket if their relationship had already ended? The following week, Kia leaves town for her meeting in Greenville. That same night, Chase dies. The publisher later testifies that they had dinner with Kia, and the next morning, she seemed perfectly normal. Even so, Chase's family lawyer learns that Kia and her publishers stayed at separate hotels. He presents evidence that Kia's hotel was near the bus station and claims that she took an overnight bus back to town, killed Chase, and returned to Greenville before anyone noticed. On the last day of the trial, Jody, Mabel, Jumpin', and even Tate attend to show their support for Kia. Based on the lawyer's claims, Tom makes one final effort to defend Kia. He argues that it would have been nearly impossible for her to leave town on a bus without anyone seeing her. She would have had to find Chase in the middle of the night, lure him to the fire tower, kill him, erase all evidence, and then catch the last bus back, all within an hour. Tom insists that such a scenario makes no sense. He urges the jury to base their decision on the facts presented in court, rather than on the prejudices and rumors that have surrounded Kia all her life. As they await the verdict, Tom reminds Jody and Tate that whatever the outcome, they must accept it. Finally, the moment everyone has been waiting for arrives. The jury finds Kia not guilty of first-degree murder in Chase's death. The case is dismissed, and relief washes over Kia and her supporters. Afterward, Kia and Tate reconcile, choosing to spend their lives together in the marsh, embracing the beauty of their world. One day, Tate asks Kia if she wants to marry him. She smiles and tells him that, in her heart, they already are. As the years pass, Kia continues writing her books, often visited by Jody's family. She and Tate grow old together, living peacefully in the marsh that has always been her home. One day, while out boating alone, Kia sees a vision of her mother. She understands that her mother has come to guide her into the afterlife. Moments later, Kia passes away on the boat, her spirit drifting away with the marsh's eternal rhythms. In the days after her passing, Tate sorts through Kia's belongings. Among her things, he finds a book with a handwritten note: every creature does what it must to survive, and sometimes, for prey to live, its predator must die. Beneath the quote, he discovers a drawing of Chase. And then, hidden away, he finds the missing shell necklace, the one Chase had been wearing the night he died. It is stained with blood. Tate realizes the truth: Kia had, in fact, killed Chase to protect herself and her way of life. He pauses for a moment, then makes a decision. Quietly, without hesitation, he tosses the necklace into the water, burying Kia's secret forever. The story ends, leaving the marsh to keep its final mystery. That's it for today's recap. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching, and have a great day, everyone.